Hey, it's me again. I just wanted to give you some little tips for when you are using a proper chocolate to ice your slices with. I've added a beautiful dark chocolate topping to my caramel slice today, and you'll see it is lovely and thin and shiny. And there are a few ways that you can achieve that as well. So the first tip I have is obviously around how you melt it. So a double boiler is a great idea, but not everyone has the time or the equipment for that. The other way to do it is in the microwave. And if you want to do it in your microwave, then ideally, I would do it on 50 to 70% power. If your microwave's like mine, they're incredibly powerful now, and we want to slowly melt that chocolate. We do that by also doing it in sort of 30 to 20-second increments, and then 10 seconds even at the end of the cooking time. That way we bring it out and stir it between. When you have just a few little lumps left, you then bring it out and you can actually whip those in yourself. If ever your chocolate has seized or gone over or looks terrible and the consistency is rubbish, do not throw it out. That is totally fine and we can salvage it. The way to do so is to add a little bit of boiling water, so a teaspoon or two of boiling water to the chocolate and whip it through incredibly well. You may need to add a little bit more depending on how much chocolate you're melting. What that does is it goes into the cocoa butters and the sugars that have solidified, and it's going to soften them and whip them back in. So do not throw out your chocolate, and that works on dark milk and dairy. Once we have our beautifully melted chocolate, the next tip that I have for you to ensure that your chocolate is like mine, beautiful and shiny, and also that it doesn't crack when you cut it, is I add a vegetable oil to it. So just a teaspoon or so of vegetable oil and whip that through once it is nice and melted. And then that's going to give it that beautiful shine, and it ensures that it's slightly softer and it won't crack down the line. And then the final tip is when you get this out of the fridge after it has set, leave it at room temperature for about 20 minutes so that it softens ever so slightly so that your knife is going to cut through it. You guys don't need to photograph your recipes, but one of the tips I have for getting a perfect cut is that I wet my knife and I wipe it down with a warm damp cloth and slice it through and wipe between each cut. But honestly, you do you. I hope those tips are really useful and have a fabulous day.